Do narcissists have any capacity for love? What do narcissists think love is? And what are they feeling when they say that they're feeling love? In this video, I'm going to dive into what love means to a narcissist and how they experience it versus how a normal person might experience love. Welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we explore narcissism and take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, everything I say is based on my opinions and my personal experiences. I'm not a professional, and if you're really struggling, I encourage you to seek professional help. I am providing links below for you. I first want to say that many narcissists, when they say that they're in love or they tell you they love you, are not necessarily lying. They might really believe that they are in love. It's just that narcissists don't really understand what love is. So when they say or think that they're in love, they might really believe it because of whatever else it is that they're experiencing. If you've never really experienced love, how can you ever really know what it is? And how can you really understand that that's not actually what you're feeling? I think most of us can understand this because most of us have probably been infatuated at some point in our lives. We've probably had a very shallow, superficial, yet very powerful attraction to somebody at some point, and maybe at some later point understood that that wasn't really love, or it wasn't really a deep, meaningful kind of connection. For narcissists, there's really nothing underneath this infatuation, and there's really no ability to develop anything more meaningful or anything deeper than just a shallow, superficial attraction to somebody. So this fooling yourself into thinking you're in love when you're really not is something that really could happen to anybody, not just a narcissist. It's just that a normal person has the ability to eventually develop something more meaningful and deeper, while a narcissist really doesn't have that ability. One way we can start to understand the way that a narcissist loves is to think of a little child, like a 3 or a 4-year-old, and the way that a 3 or 4-year-old might, quote, love somebody. When a 4-year-old tells you that they love you, we really don't expect much out of them. We don't expect them to have this deep, profound connection with us. We think it's cute, and we understand that they're developing their ability to really love somebody with a deep, meaningful connection. We understand that it's just a little child that's just beginning to understand what the world's all about. When a little 3 or 4-year-old says that they love someone, we don't hold them to the standard of an adult. So when a 3 or a 4-year-old says, I love you, and then 10 minutes later they're yelling and screaming at you because you took away a cookie, we're not angry or upset or disappointed, thinking, just 5-10 minutes ago they said they loved me and now they're screaming and yelling at me. What's going on? Because we understand that it's just a little child, and a little child's love can be quite transient and quite conditional on the circumstances. And a little child that loves you is really more dependent on you. A little child that loves you can really only understand a very small sliver of what and who you are, because a little child can only see you as to how you relate to them. When you were 3 or 4 years old, if you can remember back that far, if you can remember your primary caregivers, maybe your mom and or your dad, you probably envisioned them as just your mom or your dad or whoever your primary caregivers were, and they only existed in that capacity in your mind. You didn't have the maturity and the ability to understand that your parents or your caregivers were anything more than your parents or caregivers. They just served this one little purpose in your whole entire world, and that was all they were. That was all there was to them, and you didn't really have the understanding of the full depth of their personality and their opinions and their dreams and the way that they thought, because you were just a little child just barely beginning to understand what a person even was. And narcissists never really grow out of that. Narcissists as adults continue to see people solely on how they relate to them. So if you are a narcissist's wife or husband or coworker or friend or daughter or son, that's all you are. That's the only reason you exist. And they don't have an ability to really understand you as a full autonomous human being with your own personality and thoughts and opinions. So how can they ever really love you any more than a little 3 or 4-year-old could? Another thing that a little child needs you for is to develop their own sense of identity. A child depends on the people that they love to mirror back their identity to them. Children need adults to help them understand what their emotions are, what their opinions are, how to express themselves, whether or not their identity is acceptable or something that's going to be welcomed in the world or something that they should hide, depending on how healthy their environment is. Narcissists are doing this as well, but they're stuck in this mode. A child, hopefully, will eventually be able to develop their identity based on their environment to a point where they can hold it by themselves, where they have a strong, solid sense of who they are and their identity, and they no longer need other people's input, and they no longer need external validation constantly to help them feel like they're safe and stable in their own identity. Narcissists never develop this. Narcissists are stuck in a constant, endless state of needing external validation to help them feel like their now faked identity is acceptable and is working in the world. So a narcissist's love is really about them, and it's only about them. It's never about you. So a narcissist's love is about how they feel about themselves and how you make them feel about themselves. It's never about how they feel about you, because they don't really feel anything about you other than how you make them feel about themselves. They're narcissists. Everything is all about them, and this is kind of part of what that means. They don't have any feelings or opinions or even a recognition of who you are or anything about you. You really kind of don't exist in their world, so how can they love you? They love how you make them feel, at least how you're making them feel about themselves right now. If they think that they love you, they must be feeling pretty good about themselves right now, and they must be imagining that that's because of you. But in reality, they're actually in love, or they think they're in love with the reflection that they're seeing of themselves in you. They are depending on you to reflect back to them their own identity, to reflect back to them what they want to see about themselves, what they want to believe. And if you are doing or saying things that's backing up their own fantasy of who they wish that they were, they're going to have really positive feelings being around you, because they're going to feel really good about themselves and what you are reinforcing. So they're going to imagine that they love you because of the reflection of themselves that they are seeing in you. Narcissists live in a hall of mirrors, so to speak. They don't ever really see other people in the world. They see mirrors everywhere. Mirrors that they are looking at a reflection of themselves. Every interaction they have with every human being in the world is just a reflection of themselves. That's all that they can see anyway. They cannot see you on the other side of that mirror because they are too engrossed in their own reflection. This is the legend of Narcissus. I mean, Narcissus died because he was so engrossed and enthralled with his own reflection. And in that story of Narcissus, it's his reflection that he's in love with. It's his reflection that he's absorbed in. It's not his actual identity. It's the reflection. And this is really an accurate way to describe the ways that narcissists love. They love the reflection of themselves that they see in you. And that's why they really can't love you, because they're too busy looking for validation for themselves. And this can become a real problem when they start seeing things they don't like in that mirror. And this is not necessarily the result of anything that you do. A narcissist can be triggered by a million different things, and can suddenly be reminded of this deep insecurity and this deep pathological shame that they feel. And when they look in that mirror, when they look to you to reflect back their self-worth to them, and they don't see it, and they are reminded of how bad they actually feel about themselves, they imagine that it's your fault. They imagine that it's because of something you said or did, and that's why they can lash out and be so cruel and abusive, where you, behind this mirror that they're looking into, can be completely bewildered and have no idea why they're suddenly so upset with you. Narcissists see whatever reflection they feel like seeing. They hear whatever words they feel like hearing. So if you're in a relationship with a narcissist and you say, I love you to a narcissist, and you say, I love you because you love them, and you're just trying to express your love to them, and it's a genuine feeling and it's a genuine expression, depending on how they feel in that moment, they could hear all kinds of different things. They might hear you say, I think you're awesome and amazing and perfect, and I would never want to be with anybody else. And, that's going to make them feel good. That's what they're seeing reflected in the mirror. When you say, I love you, that's what they're hearing, that's what they're seeing, and it's making them feel good. But you might say, I love you with exactly the same intention, with you doing absolutely nothing any different. And because of a mood they may be in that day, they may actually hear, you're a real sucker. I can't believe that you believe that I really love you. I'm just saying it because I have to, but nobody could ever really love you. And they will see that in the reflection because of the mood they're in, because of what's going on with them inside them. But a pathological narcissist just can't really understand that this is what's happening, and they will really think that that's actually what you meant. So on a good day, you might say, I love you, and get a positive reaction. And maybe the narcissist will say, I love you back, and it'll be a nice, pleasant exchange. Whereas maybe in exactly the same situation, as far as you're concerned, with exactly the same intention, on a different day, you might say, I love you. And maybe the narcissist will say something like, yeah, right, I wish I could believe that. And you're just like, what? And you don't understand that the narcissist hears and sees whatever the narcissist feels like hearing and seeing, and it has nothing to do with anything that you've actually said or anything that you actually meant, because the narcissist is trapped in their own little world where they can really only see back what they're feeling on their own inside, what they're telling themselves, what they've been able to convince themselves of that day, that really doesn't have much to do with you at all. And on a day where a narcissist will actually hear what you meant, hear you say, I love you, or maybe more, you're amazing, you're perfect, or whatever, on a day where a narcissist believes you and their perception is a little closer to reality than another day, that will be a day when they may actually believe that they love you. That may be a day where their fantasy is staying in place pretty well, where it's pretty stable. Whereas on a different day, to you, nothing has changed. You haven't changed your feelings for them, but they're not hearing the same words that you're saying. They're hearing something completely different. And on a day like that, they might actually feel a lot of animosity towards you. They might actually feel like they hate you on a day like that, but you haven't changed. And that's another thing about narcissistic love, is it's incredibly unstable. It's transient. It can change on a dime. One minute, a narcissist might really believe that they love you, and they might make you feel like they love you, and everything can be going really great. And then all of a sudden that love just disappears like it never existed. And you might actually be in situations where you feel like the narcissist hates you, or the way that they're talking to you, looking at you, it's like they have more disdain for you than they would somebody trying to rob their house. And where does that love go? This is why, to me, I wouldn't call this love, because in my opinion, I think real, genuine love doesn't just disappear because somebody's having a bad day. But with narcissists, that's definitely the case. Their love just comes and goes like the wind. They can be feeling really strong, positive feelings about you one minute, idealizing you, thinking that you're perfect and amazing and they can't ever live their life without you. And then for seemingly no reason at all, certainly no reason for anything that you've actually done, they can suddenly hate you or have an incredible resentment towards you. And this can be extremely confusing to somebody that has much more stable, healthy emotional connections to people. But this is one huge problem of narcissistic love. You can't depend on it. You can't trust it, because it could be there one minute and just without warning, for no reason that you can see, it can suddenly disappear. And narcissists can be very dependent on you. I mean, they can abandon you one minute and have absolutely no remorse for it whatsoever. They can feel entitled to completely abandoning you with no warning and no good reason. But then they can turn right around and depend on you and make you feel guilty for not being there for them. They can cling to you. And you can wonder, how can this person be practically groveling to come back to me one minute and then seemingly have absolutely no interest in being with me the next? When a narcissist is looking to you for their love, or their identity, or whatever it is that they get out of the people that they have these relationships with, they're looking for validation. They're looking for their identity. Narcissists don't have a sense of their own identity without you or without whoever it is that's giving them this reflection of themselves, that's showing them who they are to themselves and showing them what they want to see. And I can't overstate how important this is to a narcissist. This isn't just a little uncomfortable. This is like life or death to a narcissist. A narcissist needs constant feedback. They need your feedback or somebody else's to keep them feeling stable, to keep them feeling like they can rely on this fantasy that they are continually selling themselves. So if they're looking to you, they can become quite desperate to have this feedback, to have this reflection provided to them. I mean, extremely desperate. And this is why they can become so pathetic sometimes, begging, pleading, putting guilt trips and demands on somebody that they've treated horribly in the past. So a narcissist that loves you has a very shallow idea of love. There is no depth to it because there isn't any actual connection to you as a human being. It's just a connection to this reflection that is really just in their own head. So whatever it is that they see in you is what they're actually just seeing about themselves. And what they're seeing in you about themselves is really all in their head. It's all in their imagination. It's not based on anything you're actually doing. It's based on something that you're unwittingly enabling them to believe about themselves that's coming completely from their own imagination. So all of their love for you is based on something that they're imagining. It has nothing to do with who you really are or anything that's real about you. And that's why it is so shallow and so immature and so unstable. And we can see this in their intentions, in the typical kind of actions you see in people that love other people. What do we do with people that we love? One thing we do for people we love is we help them. Maybe somebody that you care about, maybe their car breaks down and they can't afford the repair, and maybe you're doing better than they are financially and you're able to help them with this car repair. You might give them or lend them money to help them with this car repair because you care about them, because you hate the thought of them being stuck in this awful situation, or extending credit that they can never afford to pay back, or being stuck without a car and maybe losing their job. You kind of stress out a little for them and you want to help them because you care about them, because you love them. And if you have the resources to get them out of this jam, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel a little relieved of, oh good, this person I care about so much isn't going to have to suffer the way that I'm worried because I'm able to help. And that's why you would help somebody that you love. But a narcissist helps somebody they, quote, love for themselves. Maybe they would help somebody in this same kind of situation because it makes them feel good about themselves. Oh, look at me, I'm such a hero. Oh, look at me, I'm so generous. Or it may be to gain control. Oh, look at me, I'm able to help this person. I'm so much better than them. Now I'm gonna have something to hold over their heads later. I mean, they're gonna have to listen to me more. I'm going to be able to ask them a favor, and they better do whatever it is I ask of them later because I'm doing this wonderful thing for them. They better be really grateful. So a narcissist helps somebody they love in order to manipulate them, to control them, or to make themselves feel good about themselves, to paint a good picture of themselves that they like looking at. Another area that we can see this contrast between real love and a narcissist's love is when you are hurt, especially when the person that you love has hurt you. So when somebody that, let's put you in the narcissist's seat, but you're not a narcissist. Let's say that you hurt somebody that you love and you didn't mean to. Maybe you said something and it came out wrong and it hurt their feelings. When somebody that you care about is hurt and it's your fault, I think most of us feel bad and we want to communicate, we want to apologize, we want to fix it, we want to express that this person is more important to us than our ego or whatever it was that we said, and we try to repair it and we show respect to the feelings of the people that we love. But a narcissist that, quote, loves somebody and hurts that person's feelings takes it personally because it's all about them. They don't care if they hurt somebody else's feelings. In fact, if they hurt your feelings and you let them know, they're offended and they perceive that as now they're the victim because what do you mean I hurt your feelings? How dare you show this reflection back to me of somebody that hurts people's feelings? How could you be so hurtful as to tell me that I hurt somebody? And to me, that's not love. That's a very narcissistic kind of love. I will only love you so long as you show me back a good reflection of myself. If I hurt you, I don't want to see that reflected back. I don't want to hear about it. If I do something bad to you, if I hurt your feelings, if you have any criticism of me at all, and you really love me, you'll just ignore it. You won't try to communicate with me. In the same way that narcissists can't really give or feel genuine love, they also cannot accept genuine love. It's the same as when you tried to say, I love you, and they just heard whatever it was they felt like hearing that day. Narcissists cannot accept or recognize real, genuine love. Narcissists can't accept comfort from other people, and narcissists can't really accept anybody's love, not just because of their deep pathological shame, but because they know somewhere deep down that nobody really knows them. You can't really love somebody that you don't know, which is one reason that a narcissist can't really love anybody else, because they don't really know you, because they haven't really bothered to look at you as a person. And it kind of goes both ways. Nobody really knows what's actually going on inside of a narcissist. Even a narcissist, or especially a narcissist, doesn't really know who they are. Narcissists don't really have, like I said, a solid sense of identity. So how can anybody really love them if there's really nobody there to love? There's really no one there to know. There's really just kind of a ghost of a human being that's buried under this fake persona. So I think narcissists, some are more consciously aware of this than others, but I think all of them have some kind of vague awareness of this, and this is why they can't trust anybody's intentions. They can't really trust that anybody actually could ever love them, and this is why they can't accept love. And of course, maybe I should have said in the beginning that many narcissists or sociopaths go into relationships completely fully aware that they don't actually love the people that they're with. There are plenty of narcissists that are totally playing the people that they're with, completely pretending to be in love when they absolutely know that they don't have any special feelings for this person. But this video was more for narcissists that really think they're in love when they're not. And that definitely happens a lot. And that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. But I just wanted to validate the experience of anybody that's been with someone that just completely faked it from day one, because that definitely happens as well. Narcissists are looking for people that they can exploit and manipulate and use and maybe use as some sort of servant or somebody to physically care for them, financially care for them. Narcissists are constantly looking for people to use. But narcissists also become infatuated, and they can also, quote, fall in love with the reflection they think they see. Just like the legend of Narcissus falling in love with his reflection. Well, you can't really fall in love with a reflection because there's really nothing there. It's just a reflection. And that's really as deep as any narcissist's love can go. If you're looking for a way to support my channel and you're considering professional therapy, BetterHelp is offering 10% off of your first month of service if you sign up using the link below in my description. And if you sign up using the link below in my description, I'll get a one-time commission, so that'll help me out, and it will help you out as well if that's something that you're interested in doing. I hope this helps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below any ideas you have for me for future videos or any questions you might have about narcissists that I might be able to answer for you. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video and would like to see more like it in the future. Until next time, thanks. Bye.